Well, you tried it just for once, found it alright for kicks, but now you find out that it's a habit that sticks, and you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. Sneaking in the back door with dirty magazines, so your mother wants to know what all the stains on the jeans, and you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're getting assault, but you still keep a beat and you meet your both, and you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're a Casanova, you're an Ocho Zapita. Live on a fucking yourself to death. Orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're making out with school kids, winos and heads of state. You've even made it with a lady who puts the little plastic lummies on the Christmas cakes. Butchers, assistants and bellhops, you've had them all here and there. Children of God and the joy strings, international women with nobody hair. Ooh, so early you're asking in an alley and your voice ain't steady. The sex mechanics are off, you're more than ready. You're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. Johnny won't fuck you always and always. He's got the energy, he will amaze. He's an orgasm addict.
Welcome. Well, fuck it. Let's go ahead and start. This is Irate, Prostate. Hey, everybody, what's happening? We've got a couple of songs I wanted y'all to check out before we got going. What y'all think about that? Some heavy-duty rock and roll? Awesome! That's what I'm saying. So I want to welcome everybody to today's episode of the Ice Cream Interviews. The whole idea behind the Ice Cream Interviews was, I really love talking to people, and getting to know somebody on a deeper level is a real treat for me. So I kind of, in line with the Creem thing, with Creem Stream and beautiful CREEMER. And, we got the beautiful CREEMER t-shirts. And, I came up with the idea for some ice cream on Sunday because, ice cream's a treat. And so we're grabbing up a big old bowl of Trippypoop today. And that sounds tasty as hell. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
I was trying to, a little experiment with the music. So I'm glad everybody dug that. Shit. How you doing, man? You doing okay?
Oh yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Just woke up late today. That's all. I was like, oh shit.
Well,
it's always fun to peel yourself out of the bed, feeling like you got a broken back, and run and hit the bathroom, go check your blood sugar. Stuff most of the people in the chat don't have to do.
Yeah, that's right. Usually the first thing that I ask, the people when I do these things is I ask, how long have you been around YouTube, and what made you get into it? What was the decision?
I think this channel's been around since 2014, so I've been watching for a long time. And I think just recently when it seemed like streaming got really popular, and I'm like, hell, if this group of people can do it, I could probably do it. Mm-hmm. And then I started meeting other people that were really cool, like Pickle and Brooke and Ace and Loki Loferson,
mm-hmm.
and started streaming with them guys. Actually, the first two people I started streaming with were Mr. LM002 and Little J Moxley.
Okay.
Them two and Loki.
Sorry. And when, so where did the name Trippypoop come from?
Ah, hell, it's my gamer tag on Xbox, actually. People used to ask me on there where it came from.
Yeah.
And it all comes from the movie Mallrats, right?
Yeah.
There's a scene in Mallrats where a guy is staring at one of those, it's supposed to be a boat, the picture, and he's staring at it, trying to see the boat. And they come up behind him and they tap him on the shoulder, and he goes, "A giga poopy trip." Like, he says it really fast. He's like, "A giga poopy trip." So I started saying poopy, right? And like using that for different stuff. And eventually I accidentally typed in Trippypoop for a email.
Right.
Then I just used it for a gamer tag. So it's, yeah. Like, I went on Xbox the first time I had the 360 back in like 2008 or 9 or whatever it was. And I'm signing up for it. I put my gamer tag I want in, but it's already used. And it just suggested Trippypoop. So I clicked it. And I'm like, oh shit, I guess my name's Trippypoop now.
Well, hey, so, yeah, that's you kind of get stuck with shit, and that happens with a lot of people that I talk to, man. It's almost a happenstance way that their name, happens. So let's see. All right. So I usually ask this question, but let's go ahead and go into the deal because you didn't have what I would call a typical normal childhood because you grew up dealing with diabetes, right?
Well, no. I was actually diagnosed at, I think I just turned 22.
Oh, are you type 2? Okay.
No, I'm type 1. I just got it later in life.
Okay.
Yeah, like my father, he got it at 26 years old. That's when he found out he was type 1 diabetic.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I went around all this time assuming you had grown up with all this shit. So,
well, yeah, that's because of, I forgot what they call it. Like childhood diabetes or whatever. A lot of people get it when they're kids.
Right. Well, you
some
know,
reason-
and people usually don't, walk around asking people about their medical issues. It's like, oh, how's that colostomy bag? Shit.
Oh yeah. But for some reason, in my dad's side of the family, because that's where it comes from,
Right.
they all got it when they were in their 20s.
Wow.
So I don't know if it's a different type of type 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go. Roasted Opinion said it. Juvenile diabetes. That's what a lot of people. That's what they even called it when I was 22. They were like, you have juvenile diabetes, but you got it when you were an adult.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. They basically said that what it is I had it a lot longer than I thought I did.
Probably.
And it just kind of reared its head at that age.
So
I don't think, I don't think the diet was helping, but yeah.
right, and my question that I usually ask is there a particular food from your childhood that you hated when you were a kid, but now you love it, right?
Oh shit, probably onions.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hated it when I was a kid.
I know that's right. I did too, and then I had a Vidalia onion, and I went, "Holy shit, this was." I don't know. I think something changes, and that's why I throw that question in.
Taste bud switches. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when I was a kid, I didn't want them cooked. I definitely didn't want them raw, but now I can eat them when they're cooked, and I'm like, I will choose them on food.
Right,
versus,
like a hamburger with onion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, who would you say is the most influential person from your childhood?
Yeah, probably my mom.
Yeah,
honestly, yeah, my mom and my sister. They got to be the two, strongest women I know. Been through a lot, and they're very. I take after them a lot,
Right.
I'll get loud when I need to be. I'll tell people how it is, that kind of stuff. And when my mom was younger, she used to get in a lot of fights with full-grown men and beat their asses.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like fist fights and shit.
Yep.
Wow.
She used to beat the shit out of bikers. Like,
God damn.
all of her friends were bikers.
Dude.
Her and my dad didn't ride, but they hung out with a lot of bikers, and they would drink with them, and them guys would get rowdy, and oftentimes my mom would be alone, my dad be out driving his taxi, and hanging out with whoever. Yeah, she got in the fight with the one dude, and accidentally not only knocked him the hell out, but tore his leather jacket.
Oh. Was that problematic later on?
Oh no! Like what happened was they were drinking, right? I guess he was a hell of a lot more drunk than she was. It was icy out, and he started shit, and he swung at her. She ducked it, and he slipped on ice and fell on the ice and knocked himself out.
That's great.
Yeah. He called her the next day, and he was like, "Why is my pillow bloody?"
Damn.
Because he knew she was with him. Yeah, he just had no recollection.
Oh, dude. So what was it? What was it like your elementary school years? Interacting with other children.
No, I kept to myself a lot. I basically was the quiet kid.
Right. Okay.
I went to elementary in River Rouge. That's where I did a lot of growing up at. And at that school, it was like everybody all thought that they were better than everyone else.
So was it like a rich kid school kind of thing, or was it?
Oh no, it was regular public elementary school. But
where was the sense of elitism coming from then?
I have no idea. It was like they would be wearing Nikes, so that they thought that those Nikes made them better than you.
Okay.
And I was sitting with the cheap shoes that I got at like Walmart or wherever. So they'd make fun of me for it. And it resulted in a whole lot of fights.
That's
mostly because I can't hold my tongue. So
right, yeah, and that's and you've displayed that talent many times. Part of why people watch you on YouTube is because of your your candor, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair way to describe it, man. You're a straightforward person, and you speak your mind. Well, all right, so growing up, this is also another question I asked. It's like, what's your favorite Christmas special? Did you watch any?
Yeah.
TV when you were a kid?
Well, yeah, I definitely did. When I first saw Joker's Avatar, right? I was like, oh, that's the Heat Miser. Right. I knew that immediately. And a lot of people that I've talked to about it, they're like, what's Heat Miser? And I can't remember what that Christmas special's name is. The one with him and No Miser?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it either, man, but I think it was The Year Without Santa Claus or something like that, or The Year Without Christmas or some shit.
Yeah, but that'd be the one.
And in that like song, what was the one that's got that song where you put one foot in front of the other?
They get all mixed up.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember where the fuck that's from either. So anyway, moving on. All right, so if you could go back in time and talk to yourself at the age of 8 years old, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, I've never even thought about that. I don't know. Keep drawing. Keep to being who you are. Don't let people fuck you up.
Okay.
Just keep being you, damn it. Pretty much.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just keep on rolling. Don't let stuff stop you from being yourself.
Gotcha. What was the moment that you knew that you weren't a child anymore?
That's also a pretty hard one. Honestly, I guess it would have been when I was diagnosed with the diabetes. That was a hard hit.
Right.
Being 22, still thinking you're still having that like invincible kind of an attitude.
Yeah.
And then finding out that a strong enough drink with sugar in it can kill your ass.
Yeah,
like that kind of.
I had a friend of mine, as a matter of fact, and he was diagnosed right around the age of 20 or 21, something like that, and it changed. His personality changed drastically too. Did you have any major depression?
Yeah.
As a result.
Definitely.
Yeah, usually.
I guess I mirrored my dad.
Yeah. Yeah. So people usually, when you get diagnosed with a disease like that, you go through the major stages of grief. The first, reaction's anger, and then bargaining, like, some way of trying to bargain your way out of, not dealing with it. And then, then there's depression.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the only time in my life that I've prayed multiple times in a row.
Right.
Like thinking about religion and stuff like I even went to that degree.
Yeah, the bargaining, right?
Right. I couldn't sleep. It was like I think it was like 3 weeks where I was just annoying to be around, and like I'm acting like a jackass all the time.
Yeah, and finally, the final stage is acceptance. So then you reach a point of acceptance.
Yeah, and that was a hell of a relief.
Yeah, it's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. That's usually that, but they don't necessarily follow in that order. So so that hits you hard.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
I was actually talking about suicide for a while, and like I said, my mom's one of those that she'll tell you like it is, and she literally told me, if you're gonna fucking do something, just do it. And she threw a bottle of pills at me.
Holy shit.
And I looked at her, I'm like, well, no, I'm not gonna. And she's like, exactly. And I'm like, I don't know why I was saying stuff like that. It kind of like dawned on me.
I think when we get like locked into this deep kind of pain, this psychological pain, it feels like it's going to last forever.
Yes, it does.
Right, and it seems like the only solution at times is your brain will jump to, let's just end this shit.
Yeah,
And
my
if you
dad went
notice
through the same shit.
right, if you notice
know?
a lot of people that commit suicide, it's usually has something to do with trying to turn the brain off. Like they put a bullet in their head, or they they strangle themselves. Stuff pills like was described earlier. So,
yep. And like we've got people in the family. My grandfather actually, he committed suicide. He hung himself when everybody was out of the house. So like they came back to find him.
Holy shit! Were you with them when that happened?
No, this was in the. I think this was in the late '60s, early '70s.
Right.
And reasoning being actually recent stuff that's kind of been in the news. People saying that they were molested or raped. He was blamed for having molested a girl. And when he died, she came to his funeral and put a note in his pocket that said that she was sorry that she lied about him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So everybody knows that he didn't do anything, but because he was being blamed, it hit him so hard that he just decided, I might as well kill myself before I end up dying in jail,
Oh shit, that is fucked up.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, and it shows just how fucked up people can be,
Well, how did that affect you? Right? How old were you? How were you? All right, so you weren't alive, okay? But you hear stories of this, okay?
Right.
So what was high school like?
High school was different. Like I spent ninth grade in the same area, River Rouge. Mm-hmm. So I knew the same kids, and they all, kept trying to start stuff with me all the time. But when I hit 10th grade, we moved. Mm-hmm. So when we moved to the new area, it was like it was really weird how it happened. I hit a growth spurt. So I shot up like a fucking, like a bean sprout. And got thinner. My voice got deeper. It was basically like I hit puberty at the same time that we moved.
Interesting.
And, I started off 10th grade at this new school. And I used to dress in all black. Well, I still kind of do, Mm-hmm. Dress in all black, wear shirts with bands on them and stuff. And, dressing like that was not a thing that happened in my previous school. People thought I was some kind of fucking weirdo, I go to this new school.
What were your grades? You mind me asking? Let's back it up a little bit. What kind of grades were you doing when you were in elementary?
Oh, elementary. I don't know. There was a lot of talk of holding me back. School was one of those things I didn't pay very much attention to, like my whole life.
Right.
I guess the second day of school, when I was actually, first starting off, I came home the day before. My mom wakes me up the next day. She's like, "You got to go to school," and I was like, "I did that yesterday. I don't need to go again."
Fuck that
and she's like, "Yes, you do. You got to go every day." And I was like, And she, gets me off to school. And that was kind of the attitude I kept throughout. Like, screw this. I'd much rather be at home watching cartoons or something.
I heard that. So I never when I was a kid, I never understood the it's cool to be dumb thing. Right?
Yeah, I had a lot of friends that were like that in high school.
And then there was also the lack of challenge, with some of the, teaching. It's like I went to private school, really for a period of 5 years, really when they started busing. My parents put me on a private school. You can put two and two together and guess why. And so I went 2 years to private high school. And when I moved down here to Alabama, the last 2 years of high school, I didn't crack a book. And
wow.
But I didn't need to, because everything I learned, I'd learned literally in that private school, because it was just, I had higher standards of, it was challenging too. That was the contrast that made the difference. I was challenged in the other school. So
right.
So and it sounds like you weren't challenged either.
Oh no, I slept through a lot of my classes and still managed to pass.
What about high school? So let's jump to high school and get
in high school.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
When I was in high school, I just slept through a lot of classes and still pulled C pluses and B's and A's.
Yeah, you talked about drawing. Did you take art class?
I had a couple in high school, but I never went to like any specific schools for it. I actually started drawing Dragon Ball Z stuff when I was in elementary or middle school.
Right. Okay.
And so I've got a huge anime influence whenever I sketch.
Right.
And yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's really I've noticed that in a couple of things that I've seen that you've done. Talking about Dragon Ball Z, like, what's your favorite genre of entertainment? What do you like to, when you plop down and just want to get out of your head? What do you watch?
Oh, comedy stuff, anything that's funny,
Yeah, you got any favorites?
Probably like Spaceballs is one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Anything with Jay and Silent Bob in it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
You got a flair for stoner stuff, man.
Yeah, I do actually. I think one of the earliest movies I can remember watching with my parents was Up in Smoke with Cheech and Chong.
Oh God, yes, that is a hilarious movie.
Oh yeah,
all the jokes and the nerd, the judge,
Yeah.
it's fucking vodka.
yeah.
Boom, boom. Let's
Oh,
see.
and also car movies, any kind of chase movie.
Oh yeah, man.
Smokey and the Bandit, Blues Brothers.
Did you ever see the 7-Ups, man?
I've been told to watch it, but I don't know where to get a copy.
You know what? I'll find a copy and we'll watch it in Rabbit or something like that, because that is a great fucking movie. And
Yeah.
it's got great chase scenes in it, and of course Bullet.
Oh yeah, Bullet definitely, and Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry.
Yes, and Vanishing Point.
Oh, Vanishing Point for sure.
Yeah.
I actually had to go track them down because there's a Vanishing Point remake that was made in the '90s for TV, and I found that one, and I've seen it before. And my buddy Rusty, actually, he was like, "You need to find the original one because that's the best one."
Yeah.
And that movie is literally just a chase movie. There's barely a plot to it.
Right, exactly. Is Peter Fonda the lead in that?
I believe so.
Yeah. Right.
There's that, and then Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yep, and that one too, man. All those movies are fantastic. But the 7-Ups, man, is the same guy that drives the chase car in Bullet drives this other chase car.
Steve McQueen?
No, the guy with the glasses.
Right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that dude.
The bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like there's kind of a weird connection between the two movies.
Oh, okay.
So
when in Bullet at the end of that chase, when the Charger drives into the gas station, the stunt guy actually missed the gas station.
yeah, what's the full story about that? Because
The Charger had horrible handling. That's basically it. Plus, it was damaged. It had been through a lot, and the dude steers, and he misses, and they only had one gas station, so it ended up in the final cut.
Wow, isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
They'll do stuff with movies and get all those surprising, those unplanned, takes that they end up using. It's almost, I don't know. I love the way that kind of stuff happens.
Me too.
Let's see. What about like sci-fi or horror? Are you a big fan of any of those genres?
Yeah, I like the horror movies. I think one of the most recent sci-fi movies that I liked was actually a movie that people argue with me about. I liked Prometheus.
Oh yeah,
Prometheus. I thought it was a good movie. If you look at it as it not being related to aliens,
I thought it was acceptable too. To be honest with you, I love the look, and I thought it was, if you watch the, have you ever seen the fan cut version of that?
No,
Where they run it all in sequence and stuff. It's really, really a lot better cut, man. And in the movie, it makes a lot more sense that way.
Nice.
So, do you have any like guilty pleasures, like stuff that other, like kind of like what you were just alluding to, but it's something that is pure shit, and but you just love it because it's so fun.
I can't even think of anything right now for some reason. I just went blank. Well, I guess no, I can't think of shit for some reason.
Yeah,
there's probably a few movies that are like that for me. Well, definitely. What is it? The Grinch, the one with Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah, you like that, man? You know,
Yeah.
it's like dude. That's one of those that's like a lot of people. They you either love it or you hate it. You know.
Right.
Yeah. I would say
Yeah,
that.
there's a couple of movies that are like that. I guess. I just for some reason I can't think of them.
Well, sometimes you know it's like when you're not prepared. You know, it's like mentally for what exactly. Interviews are a little bit weird. You know, when it comes to that because there's really no preparation.
Which is fine.
What about all right? So what about series wise? What do you have a favorite series that you're into? Got a couple. I'm a big fan of like The Wire, and Game of Thrones, shit like that.
Ones. I don't really have a favorite. I mean, like Dragon Ball Z. I can watch that at any point. That's one of those shows for me, and it runs linear, so it's kind of like some of the TV series that are out. But at the same time, I don't know. Like I've watched a lot of that show, The 100.
Yeah.
And then there's another show on Netflix called Travelers. Like those two are really good. As far as I know.
So, all right, who's your favorite character in The 100?
And what?
In the 100.
It's been so long since I watched it. I've only seen the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
So, yeah, and it's been like 2-3 years since I watched that, so I don't remember anyone.
Well, it's because of Netflix. I think it allows people to to really explore. There's so much shit on that thing, man. I mean, my God. And now they've got all these foreign, things, these foreign series and things. All right, so what's a common misconception that you think people have about you as a person?
Well, I know people have compared me to a lot of other folks on YouTube.
Okay.
and it's really weird. Like, for a while there, a couple of different groups of people kept acting as if I was Zell number 2, Zell Batista.
Okay.
They were acting as if I was just him with a different name.
Oh,
and it's when you look at it, me and him are we're very different. We approach it from a very different
no shit.
standing.
I guess I don't even hear a similarity in the voice, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was just that I was hanging out with him, or I still do. Still talk to him a lot, and that's not going to change. I like Zell. He's a good guy. He does his best, and he likes calling people out for stupid stuff that they've done. I do too. I think that's pretty much where we're similar at.
All right, well, speaking about that, why do you talk about your candor and stuff? Because the first time I ever was fixated, by you on YouTube.
Was that on Eddie's stream?
No, it was before that. No, it was before that. I think it was there was a cunt stream. And everybody was going pretty hard on Sarah. This is before I knew Sarah. It's like I had met her, or we'll say Lady X, okay, because I don't want it to seem too personal. But and I thought everybody was, pretty riding her pretty hard, and so I had said, it's like you guys owe her an apology, blah blah blah, and that shit in the chat. And and you were one of the few that was nice in your response. It's like I appreciate your opinion, something like that. You said something that was like, and then and then the next time I saw you, it was during the Eddie thing, and it was like holy shit.
I think that's the first time I actually got loud with somebody on YouTube.
Yeah,
with her that day, because it was just so old at that point. It's like just stop. And I actually, I felt my blood pressure go up.
Yeah. So, where did that gift of articulation, where you can really just pinpoint exactly what you really don't like about somebody, and you can, you can articulate it quickly and very succinctly and calmly. Most of the time.
That probably comes from when I was a kid, and like we were talking about elementary and middle school, and just the people that would have a problem with me and they'd talk shit and I would talk it back and they'd end up being the one that was pissed off. It's just something I've always done. And like I like watching some stand-up comedy sometimes and stuff like that, and there's a draw to that because you can say whatever you want, and I would do that to people. Like I'd call the one kid I probably got into fights with the most often. He hated it when I called him a redneck. So I would play that up, and I would have a group of people laughing at what I said, and he would just go red and tell me, "I'm going to beat your ass after school."
Right, and it never happened.
No, well, he tried a lot. I got really good at dodging.
Weaving and ducking.
Huh?
Weaving and ducking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like he would miss most of the time. Sometimes I'd come home with a bloody nose, broken glasses.
Oh wow.
And then I would be the one that would get suspended.
Yeah. So
all the fucking time too.
So
like I'd get 5-day suspensions for being, having my ass kicked.
Well, yeah, yeah, right. It's always like that, isn't it, man? So it sounds like that there's this kind of like the scrappy nature of your family.
Yeah.
So, all right. You and I have often had a couple of conversations about growing up in an alcoholic household. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit, and how that had an effect on you?
Yeah, I don't know really how to put it, but I guess I could start with like when I was still around that elementary school, grade level.
Right.
My parents would often go to who we always call, everybody in the family called him Uncle Floyd. Right?
Right.
So I guess my Uncle Floyd, my mom's Uncle Floyd, like same guy. He's everybody's uncle, right? And every weekend we would go over to his place, and my mom and my stepdad would get, just blasted with my uncle, and I would mix them drinks and stuff. And I was like 9, I'd be putting together martinis and fucking vodka and orange juice and stuff for them guys while they're drinking. So, that era was pretty fun, because both of them would, get drunk, they'd have fun, they'd laugh. And then, a little before I was, became a teenager, my mom really stopped.
Let me ask you,
stopped drinking.
Let me ask you this. Did you even have the idea that what you're doing was totally inappropriate?
At the time, no.
Yeah. All right. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, my mom stopped drinking, pretty much.
Yeah.
When I was probably 12 or 13. She didn't really drink anymore. My uncle moved away. He went to Florida, so they didn't have a place to get lit really like that every weekend, because it was every weekend. And she kind of stopped drinking, but my stepdad kept going. And at that point, he was drinking bourbon. He would drink, he would have his little cup of bourbon all the time, never put it down. And he would get drunk by himself, and he just became really sad, and I was watching this as a kid, and in my mind I'm like, well, I never want to get to that point. I'm just not going to drink. My sister's the same way. She's 9 years older than me, got away from it way earlier than I did. Right. She moved out when she was 15, and so she wasn't around for it, but she doesn't drink either. It's really weird. My mom drank a lot. Everybody in my mom's side of the family are all big drinkers. I've got a really old photo sitting over here somewhere in this box, and it's got a refrigerator in it, and from the top to the bottom on the refrigerator side, it's all beer, and on the freezer side, it's all hard liquor.
Are there any Irish people on this side of the family?
Oh yeah, we've got Irish and English and Dutch, Scotch, and Native American.
Oh, fuck.
And that's just my mom's side. Yeah. I don't know about my dad's side.
Shit. Man.
My father
Go, keep going. Talk about your dad.
Yeah, my dad, he would always say, "Why should I get drunk to be stupid when I could be stupid all on my own?" You know,
So
and
what
that's
happened?
his
What happened
attitude.
with your mom and dad? When and why did they split? Do you know?
Well, pretty much it was actually shortly after he found out he was a diabetic because he was going through such hard depression. And he would she'd caught him a couple of times sitting, you know, in the front room with his pistol, and he would put it to his temple and he would sit there and like rock back and forth. And she caught him like 2 or 3 times. On the third time, she screamed at him. His name was Mike, too. She screamed at him, and she was like, just fucking pull the goddamn trigger. I'll clean up after you're gone. And she told him, she's like, if you're going to fucking do it, just do it. Don't sit here and, you know, piss me off because you're pretending you're going to hurt yourself. And I guess he took the gun, and he took the bullets out of it, sat on the table, and was like, put that away and keep it away from me, please. And he told her, he was like, if I ever do that again, you know, you have full permission to knock me out. You know? Because that's how she is. You know, she'll tell you like it is.
Right.
It's like, fuck it. But the reason they broke up is because they just couldn't get along.
Can I stop you? All right. Did you see that scene?
No.
Okay. So you're going from what you've been told.
I was literally still... I wasn't born yet. I was just conceived. I was still in the belly, you know.
Okay, so they had been broken up from the time before when you were born.
Kind of. Like, he came along, you know. He would come around all the time.
Right.
After I was born. And just hang out with me as a baby, you know. Kind of, I don't know if it's the reason they got together, but my sister's father, he was abusive physically to my mom. And, like, he would punch her and, you know, all that kind of shit.
Right.
He would drag my sister out of her room and make her watch him beat my mom.
Holy shit.
And after my mom finally, like, she puts it that she got smart, but that's, you know, that's not really what it is. As time went on, she eventually broke up with this guy and eventually met my father, right? And one day my father saw him, and or the guy came over to see my sister or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But my dad also beat his ass. Like, my dad grabbed him and beat the shit out of my sister's father. And told him, like, you ever come around here again, you better make sure, you know, you're watching your ass. Like, I'll let you see your daughter, but that's it, you know? Yeah. And it kind of kept them two together, you know what I mean? Like, she saw how protective he was, and I'm not sure if they were already a couple, my mom and my dad, or, you know, if they were just talking at that point, but he beat the shit out of, you know, my sister's dad. But them two, my father, my mom, when my mom was pregnant with me, that's when my dad found out he was a diabetic. He was literally in the hospital while, you know, my mom was pregnant with me for a while.
Wow.
And he used to call her and tell her, I want you to come to the hospital. I need to see my son. And she'd be like, well, how do you know it's a boy? And he'd go, I just know that's my son. You know, he had the feeling.
Yeah. Well, you know, people, man, it's really weird, but I've heard a lot of people, like, be able, you know, I don't know, it's a 50-50 guess, man. You know,
yeah.
You know, so you never know. But, I mean, I've seen it happen a lot where they've been correct. So, you know.
Oh, yeah.
There's that, and, you know, that gut feeling shit. I trust it.
Yeah. So, like, when they separated, you know, he would come over all the time, and eventually my mom moved. They kind of sort of lost contact. He would call sometimes and try to come over, but he'd never, you know, it was just hard moving around. And, like, the state took away his driver's license because of the epilepsy. And, yeah, so he was epileptic and a type 1 diabetic.
So how did they, was he, did they know that he was epileptic before? Was that?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I don't know when he found out that, but it was him and his brother had it.
So, are you in contact with him? Is he alive?
Who? My dad?
Your birth father.
Only spiritually. He passed away in the 90s. I think he died at about 96.
How did you find out that news?
Well, I was actually at school. My mom had been calling different family members to put together a family reunion from my dad's side of the family, and she called my uncle, and my uncle was at work, and she was trying to get a hold of whoever. She ended up getting contact with my uncle, and she was like, "Do you know where Mike is? Because I'd love for my Mike to meet his father." And
so you're okay with your name being out there, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my uncle, he told my mom that day on the phone, he was like, I hate to tell you, but Mike died 3 years ago.
Holy shit.
And she was like, what? And he told her that, I guess he was found, he had a 1-bedroom apartment where he lived with his dog. And he was found face down in his apartment with his dog laying with him. And what happened was, I think it was what is it? Like a massive seizure.
Grand mal.
Yeah, grand mal seizure.
Right.
And that's what they say was the cause of death. He had a grand mal in the middle of his place by himself, and nobody was around to help him.
Man, that's sad, man.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to the funeral? Well, I guess you couldn't.
Well, no, I found out 3 years later. So
3 years too late.
Yeah.
So,
but Al, I would swear to you that some days I'll be sitting here, and I feel as though he's standing right there.
That's interesting because it's like it doesn't seem like you had any like really positive male influence in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But you come across as a you've been. It seems to me like that. I guess it may be due to the nature of your mom, because it almost seems like she's like a guy in a woman's body. Right. You know what I'm saying, man?
She's got that strength to her.
Exactly. And so she's a very, like what Jung would call a psychically balanced person, because they're strongly in touch with what he calls the anima and the animus, which is the male and the female inside of us all.
Right.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And, shortly after the conversation with my uncle, my aunt, which is my father's sister,
Right.
My uncle's married in, but anyway, my aunt had called my mom, and she's like, "Why don't you and Mike and your husband all come over, and we'll just sit down. I'll get to meet him, and he'll get to meet me, and we'll all just talk about his dad and different parts of the family and stuff." And
how old were
that's
you?
how, at the time, I think I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went over there and just talked to my aunt. And she looked at me. The first time she looked at me, she goes, "Oh my God, you're the spitting image of your father." And I was like, "Really?" And she showed me a couple pictures. He had a mustache. Like, I don't have a mustache or any, especially at the time because I was so young. But she just felt like she was talking to him.
That's interesting. Are you still in contact with her?
Yeah, I talk to her sometimes, but she's a little loopy.
Well, it's family.
She's one of those that, she's told us before that, psychotic episodes and stuff run in the women in my dad's side of the family for some reason. It's like the guys are all diabetics and the women are all psychos.
Well, and he had epilepsy too, so it sounds like brain stuff. It's interesting.
We're all psycho.
Yeah, I think to a lot of this stuff they're going to find out, when they study the brain, that genetics plays a huge factor into, especially like propensity. They know this about like propensities towards alcoholism and addiction, things like that. And I also think, like epilepsy and other things down the line, even maybe cancer, they'll be able to isolate the genes.
Maybe. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, there seems to be some correlations.
So let's shift gears a little bit because we've kind of been like, riding into this deep shit. I'm going to get a little superficial, get to the surface a little bit.
Let's do it.
So, all right, you've already talked about your favorite anime series being, Dragon Ball, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So did you grow up with Dragon Ball? And
Yeah, definitely. They used to play the original series
Right.
on whatever channel it was. I don't think I watched it like religiously at that time, but it was around that time that Dragon Ball Z, because you know there's Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, GT, which is like the worst one, and now there's Super. But Z was a big part of my life when I was in middle school through high school.
Yeah.
So it was probably the biggest inspiration for drawing, like I said. And I don't think I'll ever be able to get that out of my different drawings. I don't draw as much as I should anymore, though. A lot of it's just messing with stuff on the computer. But
Yeah, like we see you doing late at night.
yep.
Yeah, that's fun to watch.
I didn't even think it was. I was sitting there with Sir Adamantine the other night, and I was messing with the picture, and I was screen sharing, and I zoomed in really far, and he was like, "Oh," he goes, "I never even saw this far into a picture on the computer before." He goes, "Is everything made out of little squares like that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, whether it be drawing
pixels,
or
Yeah.
that's just the way that the computer represents it." And he goes, "This is fascinating to see."
Well, I think CAD uses a different. I think it uses lines.
Yeah.
You like line segments and shit. I don't know. Somebody was telling me the difference, and that's what my brain grabbed onto. So it's probably it may be I may be completely wrong.
I have no idea.
Uzi tells me I am often. So you know how that is. So all right, let's see. What job would you be terrible at? Just god awful at?
Huh. God awful.
Yeah, well, I mean, what job it's like you'd never ever consider having in the world because you just know that's just fuck that.
Shit.
Yeah.
Hell. Something like what I hate doing, or I don't know. I was a bagger for a while. Does that count? I fucking hated that.
Yeah.
I wanted to kill everybody's face.
Yeah.
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 Oh my god, man! People are assholes.
Working
Like
in
I don't have a
retail.
problem. Yeah, I don't have a problem dealing with customers and stuff. It's just being around them all day. It drives you nuts after an extended period of time. Like I had a guy push me out of the way while I was bagging and go, "I'll do it." And I looked at him. I'm like, "This motherfucker got physical with me right now? Like really?" And I had already been working for like 7 hours that day.
Oh man.
And I had everything. It took everything I had not to either yell at him or push him back, And I guess like my sister was telling me she works in eye care, like in she gets people glasses,
Right.
and she sends people up to be examined by an eye doctor, and she hates that job.
Oh yeah.
Like she was telling me the kind of people she has to deal with because she lives in Arizona, and she said everybody out in the area where she works is just they're uppity,
Right.
and
Old and
I
pissed
fucking
off.
hate people like that. Yeah, I fucking hate people like that
Entitled.
'cause it's like
You mean
you're
entitled,
so
right?
entitled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I suppose anything with entitled people around me, that's the kind of thing, I guess retail would be it.
Yeah. No shit.
It's like the worst fucking job.
Man.
And then they pay you like shit too, so.
Yeah. I think that most people, it's like unless you have a job doing what you have always loved doing your whole life, I think most people are going to hate what they're doing. And they're, to be fortunate enough to be able to to draw for a living,
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Except for the only thing that would mess me up would be time. Having to get something done in a certain period of time.
Well, all right, so this is a good question. All right, if you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with that time?
Oh man, I would probably, I'd probably do a bunch of streams.
Right.
And then, I don't know. I'd probably actually sit back and watch stuff because, like since I started streaming and working on my channel and doing thumbnails and all that, I don't watch anything anymore. or play video games. So I'd probably start doing more of that again, drawing more often by hand, because like I can sketch for 8 hours. You know, I can just sit there and draw.
Yeah, I love it too.
And
especially when I'm stoned, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I used to smoke weed, but I quit back in 2009.
Yeah, what made you do that?
Again, it goes back to the diabetes.
Right.
They had me afraid to
munchies.
light up a joint. It was the doctors. The doctors and the nurses. They kept telling me that, oh, we don't know what weed can do to you. You know, and it worried me, which I ended up smoking after that, and it gave me extreme paranoia.
That
So,
sucks.
being that paranoid, I said to myself, well, I don't need this in my life along with the diabetes. And I just put the weed down and never lit back up again.
It's like,
That was,
was that like when your mom quit drinking?
Yeah, I think so.
Did she do that, or did she do the meetings or something?
No, she didn't do any meetings. She was a hell of a lot less of an alcoholic than my stepdad was.
Yeah.
You know, she would have fun on the weekends. He would have drinks in his hand from Monday through Sunday.
Right.
You know, and yeah, it really messed him up because he was already an asshole.
So she started
and it
back
just
drinking.
brought that out.
Okay. All right.
Well, she only started. She only
still
shit.
drinking?
I think since before they broke up, which they broke up around the end of 2008. And when I say broke up, she kicked him out of here. You know. Before that, I think it was like 4 or 5 years that she hadn't drank, and it was just like she cold turkey just quit. And he kept to it, and he would always ask her, come on, just drink with me, you know. And like he thought that was the end all be all of everything. And she just told him, she's like, I don't feel like being shit faced. What's the point? Why would I want to be drunk all the time, you know?
Yeah. That's a,
Yeah, so it was cold turkey for her.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, all right, I wanted to pop back to one thing. What's your favorite muscle car from the 70s?
Oh, the 70s.
Yeah.
I go back a year. The 69
Okay.
Charger 500, man. The Charger 500.
Fuck yeah. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
car. Yeah. I've always loved the
500.
design of the GTO.
Oh, the GTO. Yeah, all the way from what, 64? I think.
Well, the later 60s, early 70s stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, from the 70s. Oh, probably the Super B.
Yes.
For sure.
Dude. Fuck yeah. So you're a Mopar man.
I like Mopar. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. We went to the same place, man, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Mopar had that shit on lockdown. They were the first car to go over 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, and the concept of the Hemi engine and stuff, I was reading some stuff about that the other day, is you know, the idea behind it and stuff. It's pretty cool when you get into it. So anyway, I just thought I'd ask you that. I wonder if people would enjoy like seeing a show talking about cars, talking about muscle cars, like take a specific muscle car and talk about it for an hour.
Dissect it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of get into
I
it.
got friends that know so much more about me, though. Like, they know so much more about cars than I do. And there are a lot of them are on an Xbox. So it's like, I could probably bring a couple of them in,
That's
to be
a
honest.
good idea. So let's table that during this deal, and
Yeah.
we're gonna focus on a couple more things, and then, man, we're almost done. Can you fucking believe it? I told you it'd go fast.
Right. It did.
So, who would you say is a criminally undersubbed YouTuber on this corner? Out of people, the folks you know, the stuff you watch.
Probably Full Metal Pickle.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got his OBS set up and everything, and he's got his, he's got a good mic, and he's just a fun guy to be around. You get that guy rolling, and he'll talk to you about anything. Full Metal Pickle, yourself. Got to bring Irate in,
Well, no, you don't. No, that's the
I
whole
do.
point. It's like a. Well,
I know.
anyway.
Talk about somebody else. Well, hell, I don't even know some people's numbers. Like, yeah. Pickle's been having an issue, though, staying above 100. Like, YouTube likes to tell him he's got 130
Oh, dude,
subs.
man, that's some kind of head game that they're just trying to get you. I think they deliberately do that shit to fuck with people.
Yeah, they've done it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've probably even seen it. Like, you'll drop like 6 to 7 subs sometimes.
Yes.
And then it'll go back up the next day.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it was like it took me like a month and a half to get over the 450 hump. I was like stuck at 446, and I would get to 448, 449, and then we'll go to 440 and shit like that. You know, and it would be like, and you know, it would kind of fuck with my head. So anyway, so all right, let's flip it. And who do you think is somebody that's just way overhyped? That, you know, they really don't deserve the subs they, you know, the attention they get. I'll put it that way.
That's a hard one because I don't know.
You know, some people can subscribe to a channel they hate just to watch them because they suck so bad. You know.
Ah, shit. We'll go with Mundane Matt. Why
Okay. All right.
just cause.
Just turn off that pesky ad block.
Yeah, turn that
Make
off.
sure, yeah.
Turn it back on. Turn it on before you go to his channel, then turn it off when you leave.
No shit. So, all right, before we wrap this up, man, have you got anything you want to promote?
I probably, yeah, shit, I'll bring up Pickle again. Yeah, Full Metal Pickle. Tuesday we're going to be doing the Spoopy show, I believe is what he calls it. Spoopy.
That's such a weird, a neat word. What does that mean?
It's just something Pickle came up with or uses.
So, I mean, you know, what kind of music is spoopy music, dude?
Oh man, we probably have quite a lot. Like we all like that band Twisted, you know.
Yeah.
And they've got some very dark songs, but I mean, Pickle's got such a long list of music that he listens to that I'm sure he can come up with some stuff that none of us have heard.
I bet you.
You know,
I bet.
whether it be rock or, you know, rock, rap, something classic, who knows? He's always got a surprise when it comes to music.
Cool. What about, don't you do a Thursday show?
Yeah, we do a Thursday show called Thursday Therapy. That's on Trippycast now, and that's just the idea behind it is just to let out some steam. That, you know, if you've been involved in anything throughout the week, or if there's anything that's pissed you off,
Yeah.
you know, and it was just kind of one of those things
Come and vent.
where,
All right, man.
yeah, like you're sitting there one day, I'm thinking, man, I should come up with a name for a show for Thursday, because we were doing cards every Wednesday, which I kind of put a temporary stop to. I got bored of it, but yeah, I think I actually went to the bathroom and I was like, you know, sitting there and I'm like, oh, hey, that's a good name for it. Therapy Thursday. Why not? We'll just have people come and vent.
You know, I wonder how many genius ideas were conceived either in the shower or on the toilet. You know?
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It seems to be the commonplace. Like, you're sitting there, it's quiet. Your brain gets a chance to fuck with you and be like, oh, you're not thinking of this. Here you go. Here's your answer.
Here's a fun thing. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, the idea behind Therapy Thursday is it doesn't have to be something that happened online either. You know, It could literally be that your cousin, your uncle, your wife,
My
your mother,
fucking neighbor.
you know,
Yeah.
somebody pissed you off and you want to vent. And you know, you're online, they're probably not even going to ever hear it, but it'll make you feel a little better.
That's awesome. Well, everybody, okay, you need to subscribe to Trippy. Please like this, by the way. But Trippy, all the Trippy's information is in the description below. Check it out, and if you read underneath that, you'll know that Thursday we'll be doing the $40 Amazon gift card drawing. And to qualify for that, all you have to do is be a Irate Prostate channel subscriber and make a comment on the video. All right, there's two requirements, and if you've met those, you will qualify for the drawing. And Thursday, the hot takes will be focusing on season 2 of Castlevania. We'll have guest your boy Pat there, so y'all come by and check that out. Castlevania season 2 just dropped on Friday, and I've gone through it, and I've got some comments about it. I'm not going to say jack shit here. You're going to have to find out what I think about that later. All right. So, on that note, I also want to remind everybody that Trippy and I hang out on Fridays, and we do this thing called the Creem stream, which is, you want to say something about that, dude?
Oh, the Creem stream's awesome. That's where I get to sit and have a fucking laugh each week. And we talk about the news and just whatever the hell stories you guys come up with. They're always great. You and Uzi finding them funny ass stories, man. Or whether they be funny or serious, they're always something great to talk about. Yeah. And a killing jokes there, and a Tim is there, and
yeah. Look at all that. And half of them are in the. I think I see all of them in the.
Yeah, the Tim is there, jokes there.
Yeah, in the chat. Awesome. Hey y'all. And so and also, you know, if you're a fan of the Ice Cream Interview show, or if you're if you're a fan of the Creem stream, we've got these new shirts out called the Beautiful Creemer, in these awesome electric colors. You know, you can get them under black shirt. You know, you pick what color shirt you want and what color Beautiful Creemer logo thing you want on it, and it's at TeePublic under Irate Prostate's channel. I got other t-shirts there, but I figured I'd go ahead and push that shit. I'm such a whore. I'll just go ahead and call it like it is. I'm a whore.
Hey, you gotta be. Isn't that what YouTube's all about?
Well, you know, I'm going to start like pushing the limits on this shit, because I'm never going to get monetized. Fuck that shit. I'm going to go and I'm going to, I think I've been inspired by a joke, and I'm going to, like I did today, I'm going to push the limits and see what I can do musically before shows, and I don't know, maybe some whipped creams where I pop up and just start doing some shit. Sometimes I'll do that and rant and rave, and usually I have to unlist them after I do them.
Yeah,
because I say embarrassing shit. But you know how that is, man. But I guess on that note, if you got anything else you want to say?
What'd you say? Sorry, I cut out on me.
Well, before we split, do you got anything else you want to say?
Oh, no, I think I'm good, man.
Cool. All right, well, shit. This has been the Ice Cream Interviews. I'm Irate Prostate. We've been really getting into it with Trippypoop. This is a great interview, man. It's really weird. The more I do this, the better I think these shows are getting. So if you really like this show, please give it a like and share, man, because I really want to raise the profile of this thing. So because I think I'm starting to do something here. So
man.
Next week I'm going to be talking to the one and only Weebo Jones.
Nice.
Yeah. And keep your eye open, because I may start it an hour later. I'm thinking about moving the time up an hour. And if I do, I'll definitely announce that before we get going. And, of course, your notifications to say. Anyway, so with having that said, this is Irate Prostate. I'm OUT. Should I play the music that we open with? Should I take that chance? What do you think,
Sure.
Trippy?
I don't see why not.
How about
the worst they can get you with is telling you that it won't be monetized.
Well, it's Buzzcocks.
Right?
Yeah, Buzzcocks. Let's go.
Okay.
Well, you tried it just for once, found it alright for kicks, but now you find out that it's a habit that sticks, and you're an orgasm addict. You're an